As you can see, Michelle took today's assignment a little bit too seriously. She got really into the finale of Mad Science MAYhem. She decided to experiment on herself, and I'm trying to tie your change in appearance to the fact that we're talking about a movie where mad scientists change appearances, but they make them all look hideous, and it's like, man, how do I, tie this in?
I got freaked!
How do I tie this in without, trying to make it sound like I'm calling my wife ugly? No,
maybe I should be the one who says something.
Oh, I gotta thread this needle. No, yes, your hair looks lovely. I love your hair.
Thank you.
But you changed your appearance completely on the episode that we're talking about, a movie where people are changing their appearances completely. So it had to come up. Hey, everyone, it's me, Aaron.
I'm Michelle.
I'm going to be sleeping on the couch tonight. I'm kidding. Hopefully, that's not up to me to decide. So this is the finale to Mad Science MAYhem, the celebration where all month long we've been watching movies about mad scientists. I'm honestly shocked that we were able to find so many without just doing a bunch of 50s movies back to back to back. But this is one that I definitely want to do the moment that I came up with this idea, because it is a film that I remember watching when I was a kid, and I hated it. Then I watched it as a teenager, and I loved it. And I'd be like, how am I going to feel about this as an adult? I'm middle-aged now. How do I feel about this film now? I still really like it, but man, it's aged a little bit. I will say that. However, this was the first time that you saw it.
Yes.
How'd you feel about this?
I enjoyed it.
I think you actually liked this more than I did. The movie that we were talking about is Freaked. And I think this film was out of circulation for a long time, because I remember years ago I tried finding a copy of it, and it was on no streaming services at all. And I found a DVD of it on sale for $200 or so. I was like, what the fuck happened to this thing? But it's out there now again. You can watch this again. So this is a very weird movie. It's from the early 90s. Mm-hmm. And this was definitely an early MTV kind of movie.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Like cartoon sushi kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to remember the name of any of their blocks. Right when MTV stopped doing music videos. They still showed music videos, but they were like, let's create some original programming as well. And it was very counterculture stuff. Mm-hmm. But it was 90s counterculture stuff. And the weird thing is, watching this, it really struck me, 90s counterculture was not like any other generation's counterculture. And I've heard people bring this up before in much deeper analyses, in which they talk about how, there really wasn't a lot to protest in the 90s. The economy was good. We weren't at war with anybody for one of the few times in America's history. Things were kind of all right. Everybody was able to afford houses back then. So there was a lot of counterculture. So a lot of the counterculture, because there's always going to be counterculture no matter what. But a lot of the counterculture movement was just hey man, we're just weird. And that's kind of what this is. It is bright, it is colorful, it is loud, and it is weird. It is so all over the place. But it's also, I did not remember this being such a spoof movie. And that's exactly what this is. And when I say spoof movie, I'm talking about stuff like The Naked Gun, yes. Airplane, that generation of spoof films, which have kind of died. They were killed by Friedberg and Seltzer. That's true. Yeah. Them and the Scary Movie guys. I know everybody loved that first Scary Movie. I didn't like it. I never liked Scary Movie. I said this, I actually told you this the other day. We saw a sign advertising the new Scary Movie. And I said, listen, I never, ever want to cheer on anybody's failure. But if this thing tanks at the box office, I'm not going to be sad. So the Scary Movies and the Friedberg and Seltzers, the Scary Movies were bad spoof films. We'll maybe watch them here on the channel one day. But I remember them just being what's the most offensive, cheapest jokes that we can do? And even when I was a kid, I was like, man, this is bottom of the barrel shit. Because I was a fan of Naked Gun and Airplane in those films. So I thought that those things that the Scary Movies were cheap. And then Friedberg and Seltzer came along, and they were worse. Mm-hmm. I said Scary Movie was bottom of the barrel. Friedberg and Seltzer was, if you lift up the barrel,
no, it's we need to drill underneath it, below the barrel.
kicking up the wood boards on the bomb, still going underneath. Like, yeah, man. But this is a genuine spoof film. And it's a spoof film in the way that just such random, like, it exists within its own logic.
Yeah.
Like, this does not obey the rules of physics. If you need something to happen for a joke, it's going to happen. You know what?
It's like a cartoon.
I was about to say, do you know what modern day spoof is? It's Family Guy. And I say that as somebody who doesn't really like Family Guy all that much, but that's what Family Guy is. It is just like, okay, listen, do we need to do a cutaway to something that's completely unrelated in order to make a joke? We're going to do that. That's kind of what old school spoof films were, and that's what this is. But let's go into the details about what this film is. It is about, what is the guy's name? Oh, shoot, they listed everybody in order of appearance.
Oh.
God damn it. Where is he? It's Alex Winter. Alex Winter plays the character. His name, oddly enough, is not popping up there on screen. Yeah. Which is weird because he's like the second person we see. Anyway, doesn't matter. Alex Winter, who many of you know from Bill and Ted. Mm-hmm. He's the non-Keanu Reeves Bill and Ted. Although Keanu Reeves is in this. But Alex Winter, he plays this child celebrity who is now like in his like young adult phase, and he's that typical Hollywood douchebag. Mm-hmm. And he gets signed up to sponsor this chemical that is super toxic and dangerous because this was the 90s, and the one like environmental thing that everyone was very aware of was toxic waste. So that was the thing that they were really hammering away at in this film. So he's going to be the spokesperson for this. He has to travel down to South America to be the sponsor for it. And he gets there with his horny friend, because it's a 90s film, so you're going to have the horny best friend. And they run into these protesters. And one of the protesters is very stereotypical. That lets you know the time period that this came from is that they make a lot of jokes about 90s feminists, because if you go back and you watch like Married with Children or any of those sitcoms from that time period, there was a very stereotypical depiction of feminists from that time period. That's who this is. So they meet this character, but they both kind of have the hots for her. So they end up through this crazy situation, end up driving away with her. And
by the way, she's not interested in either one of them.
Yeah, that should be pointed out.
Yeah.
And she knows who they are, and she is just like trying to convince them, do not do this. But they end up seeing a sign for a freak show. And they pull in there, and the freak show is run by Randy Quaid, being slightly more normal than regular Randy Quaid. I hate that dude turned out to be just a complete nut job, because he is great in this film, and man, I wish that we had more stuff of Randy Quaid like this. But they go in there, and of course, Randy Quaid, he uses the very chemical that Alex Winter was going to be promoting to create the attractions in his freak show. And I mentioned that this was 90s MTV, that very like in your face, just being crazy for the sake of being crazy. That's kind of what all the people in the freak show are.
Yeah.
And I will say this. You can tell this film did not have a budget. You can tell that it was cheap. But there's some good practical effects in here.
Yeah, definitely.
Whoever did the makeup on this is really impressive. Mm-hmm. I was genuinely amazed at it. And also, I believe Alex Winter also directed this. He like co-directed it, because it's impossible for him to have been actually like going back and forth between acting and examining himself. Because what happens is his horny best friend and the like environmentalist person, they get fused together. That's what they do with their like little thing. He like slathers them with the gelatin or whatever it is, the toxic waste, and their bodies fuse together. But he puts these toxic waste on Alex Winter's face and puts it on half of his body, and half of his body just turns into a giant gremlin. Mm-hmm. It's like big pointy green ear, like his mouth is snarl over like this with like big fangs on this side of his face.
Like even as like pustules like oozing.
Yeah. Like you'll see like he grabs them with his hand, and they just go like shooting off of like a boil on his hand. And man, I remember I was watching, I believe it was In Search of Darkness, which is a documentary on horror films from the 80s and 90s. And in the 90s one, they do talk about this, and they interview Alex Winter for it. And he's talking in there about, like, yeah, I could barely, like, see out half my body.
Yeah,
like,
I could only imagine, like, holy crap.
And he was trying to also, like, he had a co-director on this. The reason he had a co-director was he couldn't exactly go over there and be like, oh, yeah, I definitely need to do this right now. Yeah, he was over there just, like, he'd still try to do it, but it was impossible. And, man, Alex Winter is definitely one of those, like, workman directors. And they meet all the other attractions at the show. And again, it's just like crazy. And that's the best way that I can describe it. I know I'm going to be repeating myself but if I told you, okay, there's a bearded lady in there. It's like, okay, that's not too weird. The bearded lady is played by Mr. T.
It's literally just him in a dress.
Yeah, it's literally just Mr. T in a dress. And there's like a flashback to, like, this gives you a sense of, like, the kind of humor that's in this film. There's a flashback to how several people there came to the freak show and got, which, by the way, I know that's an offensive term, but
that's what it's called.
The movie's called Freaked, and they're going to be saying that term a lot during this film. It feels like it's appropriate to refer to it as that.
It's appropriate in this universe.
In this universe, yes. That's a good way of putting it, yes. But they do, like, flashbacks, and, like, when the bearded lady one gets there, Mr. T is like a trucker, and he's talking about, I was like, yeah, I was driving, and I was lost. Not just physically, but also emotionally. Like, I didn't know what to do with myself. And then he just gets out there, he meets Randy Quaid, and Randy Quaid just leans in and whispers, you'd be a lot happier without a dick. And then he just, like, puts up the hands about the family and goes, whoa, 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 you can keep the beard. Just goes in for, it's like, yeah, that's kind of what this is. And the weird thing is, it's a very progressive performance by Mr. T, because he's talking about how, like, he's happier now, or I guess, like, she's happier now, I should say. It's kind of weird with how the film... It's kind of weird with how the film ends. Yeah. I'll say that. That's the one thing that I'm like, oh, maybe you thought that.
Yeah, I think it was, like, supposed to be like, haha, that's funny because you did not expect that, but it's like, oh, it's funny because it's actually nice for them to be...
But these days you look at it, it's like, that's actually kind of, like, progressive. That's kind of... Yeah, like, he's talking about how he's happier, how, yeah, this is who I am now, and I like me. I'm a woman, and I'm happy. And I was like, all right, yeah, cool. But, like, you've also got a sock man, where it's a normal human body, but the head is just a sock puppet, voiced by Bobcat Goldthwait. I'm trying to think of some of the other really weird ones. Oh, yeah, I mentioned Keanu Reeves is in here. He plays the dog boy. There's just a werewolf man in there, and it's played by Keanu Reeves doing a really thick, bad Spanish accent. But I think he's trying to be like a revolutionary leader because he's trying to lead all the freaks out of salvation, out of this place into salvation. But yeah, there's just a lot of jokes in here that I'm describing it to you in a way that you're probably hearing this going, that sounds horrible. Except a lot of it actually is genuinely funny. Mm-hmm. But there's also a lot of the stuff that I don't like in spoof films where it's just reference humor. And some of it is funny, but there's a lot of other ones, like, this thing starts off with, I know the Alex Winter's character's name is Ricky something, but he is on a talk show. And he's being interviewed by Brooke Shields. She's not playing herself. She is playing a character, but it is Brooke Shields playing it. And man, she gets like top billing in the credits as well. Yeah, they were really hyping up. And there's a moment in which he's talking about the story of like how he came to be who he is. And he says he was on a plane traveling down to do the sponsorship. And she says, oh, did they play an in-flight movie? And he goes, yeah, Beyond the Blue Lagoon. And she goes, oh, I hear that movie sucked. And it's like, oh, it's funny because she was in Blue Lagoon, everybody.
But it did not age well because I don't know how many people actually know that.
That's it, yeah, but it's like, that's a lot of ways, like, get it? And it's like, all right, when you do those, no, I'm not in favor of that. But then there's some that's just so weird that I remember cracking up at it as a kid, and now I just look at it puzzled. Like, the joke that got me when I was a kid is there's a moment in which he shows him where all the freaks are being kept. And it's in an outhouse. And he walks into the, like, outhouse. Thank you, phone. And he walks into the outhouse, and it's huge on the inside. It's a massive barn on the inside. And he looks around and goes, wow, great use of space. And then Randy Quaid goes, yeah, I learned it from that Bob Vila fella. And then an actor playing Bob Vila walks out and goes, well, you know, you could learn to open this up more with a window in the sky. I can show you all in my new instructional book. And they just shoves Bob Vila out there. And I'm just like, okay, I remember laughing my ass off at that when I was a kid. And now these days I'm just like, who the hell even knows who Bob Vila is anymore? Yeah, like I guarantee you most of our audience do not know who Bob Vila is. And even if it was someone they knew, that's just a weird thing out of nowhere to just be like, hey, reference, person comes in for reference. So yeah, it's, like I said, it's very Family Guy-esque. Yeah. But for some people, that's your thing, and that's all right. And hey, listen, you've all watched my shows. You know I am not above making random references. So it's like, I get it. But there's gotta be some of that stuff in here. But there's also other jokes in here that I'm just like, I don't know. That feels like you guys were just throwing stuff at the wall to see what stuck. Like, Randy Quaid has a pair of mutated eyeballs that are like the guards on the compound. But they have like Rastafarian hats on. But they're also, and they're speaking with like a Rastafarian accent, but they're also speaking like this. So it's like those two mixed together, and I'm just like, who the fuck thought that was funny? And they keep bringing up and pointing out that they're Rastafarian eyes, and I'm just like, this feels like a reference to something, and I don't know what, because it's so out there. I don't know why you do this, because I'm not laughing at it. It's just a thing here for no reason. Like, the giant eyeballs being guards, like, okay, that's cool, because they also even kind of set it up early on, like, I like that. Why are they Rastafarian? So there are a handful of jokes in here like that. I'm just like, why is it that? I don't, what? But outside of like a few examples like that, this thing is still really funny. In fact, there's jokes in here that I don't remember laughing at as a kid. And this time I was like, man, that's actually hilarious. I love that. Like there's a moment in which I don't know if I want to spoil this one because it is really good, but the delivery is what makes it good, so I don't think I can spoil it. But it's going to be one of those jokes that I can tell is going to live in my mind for a long time. They're trying to sneak into Randy Quaid's facility to get the chemical so they can possibly reverse what's happening. They sneak in there, and the machine kicks on, and it's making all this noise, and they gotta like turn the volume down. It's like, oh, okay. And they cut to Randy Quaid, and he didn't notice any of that. And then they gently turn and knock over an empty styrofoam cup. The quietest thing you could possibly do. And then it cuts to Randy Quaid. Styrofoam cup. And it's just that line delivery that has like, God, that's going to be like one of those mental tics for me. Like, what do you call them? Those verbal?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that's called. It's going to be one of those things that's like, God, I'm going to find some video to work that into. I'm letting you all know right now ahead of time, 2 years from now, you're going to be watching something on my main channel. And I will bend over backwards to find an excuse to shove that clip into whatever that video is. Because it's one of those things that's like, God, it's going to eat me up inside if I don't do it. So yeah, there's just funny, weird deliveries like that. Mm-hmm. A lot of like abstract out there jokes, but if you're willing to go along with that, then it's great. Mm-hmm. Like there's a moment, there's another joke that is like genuinely clever, I think. And it points out one of the more clever bits in here, but also shows the style of humor that this film goes for. There's a moment in which he's doing the presentation, like all the freaks have to go out there and do their show for all the paying customers. And the sock-headed man is doing something, but then his sock falls off and it's revealed it's just his head is actually a hand, mm-hmm. But the audience hates him for it. They're not wowed by the fact that this guy has no head and 3 hands. They're upset it's not an actual, like the sock is not the head. And they're all booing and angry. And then Randy Quaid has to scream out, hey, puppeteering is a legitimate form of art. And I was just like, God damn it, I don't know why that's so funny to me, but it is. But yeah, I've been dominating this. What, you as somebody who has not seen this before, what did you know Did you have any idea where this was going?
I think I knew about this movie, but I didn't watch it. Cause I knew this was gonna be batshit crazy, basically.
Yeah, which I remember that Alex Winter did have a sketch comedy show on MTV back in the day. I don't remember what it was called. It was Remote Control, I want to say. Maybe.
I thought Remote Control was a game show.
That was it. You're right. But he did have a sketch comedy show. I don't remember what it was called. And this is very much zany 90s sketch comedy.
Yes.
If you took a bunch of random skits and put them into a film, this is it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so what was your general thoughts on this film?
I thought it was silly and funny. It is a little bit dated, but I don't think it's so much that'll interfere with your entertainment.
It's generally, I think, the thing that's dated the most outside of a handful of references is just the tone, except it's not watching something from the 70s where everyone's well, I was going to say something from the 70s where everything's super psychedelic and stuff. I was no, it's actually kind of fun. I mean, okay, it's not super dated like a 1950s movie talking about how, in 30 years, we'll be living on the moon. That's always the reference I go to, but it's true. A lot of films from the 50s was like that. It's oh, God, that didn't hold up. No, this is dated in that way. It's no, this is just kind of what humor was back then. But it's not that went out of style.
Yeah,
it's just not the forefront anymore.
Yeah, it's very slapstick, very cartoonish. I think that's basically the best way I can describe this is basically a live action cartoon. Speaking of which, there are some special effects in here that were stop motion animation.
Yeah, there's a lot of claymation animation in here, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I really did like these special effects.
It's one of those things where I should have looked this up beforehand, but I'm curious if this won any awards because the actual makeup is really freaking good.
Yeah,
not on everybody. On the werewolf boy, it's not great.
Yeah,
but there's a cowboy in there, and when I say a cowboy,
an actual cow man.
Yeah, he's a cowboy who's also a cowboy. He is a living cowman, and his face is literally just an animatronic cow head. And God damn, that's actually really good. I remember that from when I was a kid watching this. It holds up better than my memory told me it would.
It's I was thinking Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh God, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, another example of a low budget movie, but with amazing special effects.
I have to look this up. Who did the makeup and stuff on that? Because did somebody follow me on Letterboxd? Somebody just followed me on Letterboxd. I never even told people I'm on Letterboxd. That's weird. That is odd. Sorry, that's what that alert was I got a moment ago. Yeah, I gotta look this up because now that you're saying it, this is so in line with their particular style.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they did it. All right, we're all gonna find this out in real time. Who did effects for Breach? What is the shitty Google AI answer going to be? Idiot Box. That was the name of the sketch comedy show.
Oh.
Okay, Idiot Box. But then also production and starring, cinematography, edit, distributed, release, running time, budget. That's important. Low budget horror film featuring the band Butthole Surfers. Which, I mean, yeah, if you want to know what punk was back in the 90s, it was less about we have to take down this thing. We have to fight all this. Punk in the 90s was a whole lot more I'm going to call my band Butthole Surfers and you can't stop me, Mom. That's kind of what punk was in the 90s. And I ain't saying anything bad about Butthole Surfers. No. I'm just saying that's what a lot of punk was back then.
Go under production?
Production. The working title was Hideous Mutant Freaks. It was directed by Beach Blanket Bingo, following the end of the production and the starring, the Idiot Box, and Monty Python. Joe Roth was our studio at the time. Tom Gardner. The makeup effects and characters for the film were designed and created by 3 different companies. Tony Gardner's company, Alterian Inc., Steve Johnson's Effects Inc., and Screaming Mad George. Okay. So it wasn't the Killer Clowns from Outer Space guys, but Screaming Mad George is famous for having some of the best makeup effects that just get weird. Like, he's that guy who is known for going out there and just going all in. It makes sense he would do this. Ooh, wow, that's actually really cool. So, okay, yeah, the effects are amazing in this. And there's plot points here that we haven't even discussed yet. Like, I love that Ricky has a fan who, like, this little kid fan who is just constantly chasing him down, and Ricky hates his guts. But I love their relationship. It's so good. I will say that is another bit of, like, super dated. I wonder what the modern day joke on this would be, but there's another super dated joke in here where Ricky's fan is trying to get him free, so he's taking the news story to all these different papers, and they're just tossing him out the door.
Like through the glass door, he's breaking through the glass.
Which I love, again, I love good physical humor. That's why I don't think that, even though this is not, like, at the forefront of what comedy is these days, it's never going to go out of style, because slapstick will never go out of style. No matter how much we evolve and how mature we get, somewhere in the back of our monkey brains, there will be that ha-ha man fall down voice.
Yeah.
So it will always be there. But in the end, the paper that listens to him is the Weekly World News. And I was just like, that doesn't even exist anymore. That has not existed in like 20 years. Nobody watching this today is going to have any idea why that's important. But yeah, Weekly World News, they were a grocery store tabloid paper in which I remember like every grocery store I went to had a copy of Weekly World News, and they were always things like is Hillary Clinton impregnated by aliens? Bat Boy found in cave, like stuff like that. Just things that I was like, yeah, nobody would believe that shit. But yeah, I just thought that was one of those like, man, that is one of those things that makes this a time capsule film. Yeah, effects are great. Really dig the characters. It's weird how everybody in here is just so ridiculous, but because they do the thing that spoofs need to do, they establish the world so well that you just go with it.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to do for a movie like this. Mm-hmm. I can't think of really anything else I really want to say, because anything else would just be us going, this joke was good, this joke was good, this joke was good. Anything else that you want to add into this?
Not particularly.
Yeah. I would give this a solid B+.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's like you're a classic B horror movie, but like a lot more silly and wacky and crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So like if you're in that kind of mood, I recommend this movie.
Listen, it is a comedy. It is a comedy first and foremost. However, it is a spoof, and the thing is, spoofing is monster movies. Is old-timey, like, horror, mad science monster movies. It's like, yeah, great. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I was glad to go back and watch this. I was expecting that this thing was not going to age well. I really liked it. I think the only thing that's going to stop some people from getting into this is that some of the jokes are dated, some of the depictions of people are dated, and a lot of the references are going to be dated, but it's a really good slapstick comedy, and I think that's kind of timeless.
Yes.
But there you go. That is our look at Freaked, and that is the first theme month we've done since Halloween. We were able to do it. We were able to get all these reviews out. That's great. You know what? Let's do another one. Our next theme month is starting this month in June. It is Kaijun. We are doing kaiju movies all month long, and we're going to start with the classic, the original Godzilla from the 1950s. Come back then. Bye, everybody.
Bye.